Recently, Keepa came out with one of the biggest updates that I've ever seen them make, and that was with their newest features for seller IDs and specifically looking at including historical offers within those seller IDs. Now, I did a full breakdown whenever the news broke on my channel just a week or so ago, depending on when you are watching this recording. But ultimately, I wanted to go through my 3 favorite ways to at least start utilizing this in your business so you can find products that other people either have forgotten about or maybe they're currently selling on and they're prime products for you as well. Now, the very first way that we're going to go through this is by using their seller ID section down here. And specifically, we're going to be looking for regional products. Okay. Now, these products that are regional are items that are typically going to be only sold in a certain region. And the reason that this is good is because if you are buying products, let's just say in Texas, then you can look for products that are Texas based because you know that other sellers in Florida or Washington or New York won't be able to buy those same products. And so let's think about this. Let's extrapolate this a little bit more. That if you have a product that is only typically sold in Texas, and you know that it has a pretty good arbitrage opportunity already, why not go look at that product, see the other sellers that are currently on it, and then also look at all of their other historical offers, because that tells you that you're looking at sellers that can buy this Texas product. So they're probably also buying other Texas products in your area, whatever it is that you're looking for. And so that's what we're going to do on this first one. Now, very first and foremost, I've got Texas barbecue sauce pulled up here. I use a few different Chrome extensions to be able to pull in more information, such as the amount of FBA sellers on a listing. This one's completely free and it's called DS Amazon Quick View. It's not sponsored in any way, but that is on here. Now, if I continue scrolling, I'm going to look for something with 3 sellers or more. Now, this could be a good one since it's a bundle. I'm going to try to avoid that. And I'm going to look for something that's a little bit more straightforward. This is Heinz. I know that that's not a Texas only brand. So I'm going to keep scrolling. And I believe whenever I was looking at this up front, we've got this product right down here. Craig's barbecue sauce from Texas pepper jelly. Now, I don't know this product, so I'm assuming it's some sort of a regional product. And so this has 3 FBA sellers. So we're going to click into here and utilize Keepa's newest features to be able to pull back great products in this area, or at least to see what other sellers are on here and what they're currently selling. So if I take a look at this one, I don't care about the profitability, although this is showing that it's $4.89 right now from Shields and it's selling at $11.64. So maybe you make a little bit, you could break even. But if we go to data here and then we simply click into offers, and then from there, I'm going to look at just the FBA sellers just because that's what I would be caring about. Now, there's actually another use case we'll get to towards the end of the video for FBM, so make sure to stick around for that if you're interested. Currently, there's 4 sellers total. If I click on FBA only, that brings us to 3 sellers on the listing. Okay, if I scroll in there, you can see that. But let's go ahead and click on include historical offers. That brings us from 3 FBA sellers to 20 total sellers. Now, this has always been inside of Keepa, but what is different is the including historical offers of those sellers' storefronts. And so we're going to take all of these seller storefronts and we're going to put them into Keepa using this new feature and be able to pull back not just what they're currently selling, which has always been there, but also what they've historically sold. And so I'm going to go ahead and click on export right here. We're going to export all active columns and a CSV. And so I'm going to click that button. I'm going to go ahead and get that download over here. So let me pull that over. This is what that looks like. And so we care about the seller IDs that came from this particular listing. So I'm just going to simply copy that, move this out of the way for us here, and go over to this website. Now, this is free. It's called dlim.co. You simply would paste all of those seller IDs right here. Okay. And then we're going to click on this blue button and I'm going to select all of them and then copy those. Now, we need this so that way everything is separated by a comma for Keepa. It just makes it a lot easier than us entering each one by one. So we're going to come back to the Keepa data product finder here and click into seller IDs. And we're going to leave it just as is. And I'm going to paste these in there. So out of those 20 different sellers, we have 4,682 products, as you can see right here. And I'm going to simply click on include historical offers. Now we've got 52,000 products between those 20 different seller IDs. And there's a lot of different ways that you can filter these items and you can go through and look for the best of the best. But I specifically want to know what are things that each of these sellers have in common. And it's not every single one of them, but how many of these sellers have certain products in common. And so if I take a look at this is one of, I'm going to switch this to, let's just go with is 4 of. So that would mean that 4 of these sellers have a specific ASIN in common. And out of those 52,000 products, 111 products come back. So this is powerful. That means we took 20 sellers, we got all of the products they've ever sold according to Keepa, and then we found where all of those products, where at least 4 of those sellers had matching ASINs. That's pretty cool because that means it's probably easily available. It may actually be regional because we started started with a regional product here from this barbecue sauce, this Craig's Texas Pepper Jelly Barbecue Sauce. So let's see what pulls back. This is without using any of the other filters. You could also filter for sales rank and price, and we'll go through that here in just a minute. But ultimately, this is just looking for the ASINs themselves. So out of that, we've got 111 products. We'll go ahead and pull back 100 of them. So we've got Tabasco. Okay, that's pretty normal brand. Kool-Aid. Buc-ee's. Now that's a regional product. This is not everywhere. This is a gas station for those of you that don't know. So this could potentially be a product that if we have this in our area, we could actually look to go purchase this on a retail arbitrage perspective, or maybe even an online arbitrage perspective. I'm not sure about Buc-ee's specifically. You can see over the last year, the pricing's been fairly consistent. Got a good amount of sellers. We could actually do the same exact process that we just went through and look at just Buc-ee's sellers, look at the data here, click into offers, let that information load, and then do the same thing with including historical offers. Right now there's 7 FBA sellers. If I look at historical offers, there are 166 sellers that have bought a regional gas station's product and sold it on Amazon. That's pretty amazing because now we can just look at all of those sellers and all of the history of the products that they've purchased to see what mixes and matches that we can find by this data. This is super powerful. Now, additionally, we see, oh wow, HEB. Now, I don't have an HEB here in Florida, so this isn't something that I would ever even look at, but HEB seems to be a popular store that these sellers, that at least 4 of them have been purchasing from. We can take a look at this product. Now, I don't know if this is still in stock, but you see the pricing has started to go up here. The sellers have started to dwindle. Maybe this is a great opportunity to go and purchase this. Let's actually take a look real quick and see if this is something that there's some pricing online for us to check out. All right, so if I look this up, it looks like this is $28.98 on their website. It may be cheaper in store. According to this, right now it's selling at $43.95. Probably not profitable, but still something that we could easily take a look at, especially if we have HEB in our area. This is almost like getting a shopping list that we can go and try to find these products in our local stores if you're doing retail arbitrage, especially with the regional products, okay? So this is one way. We've got HEB, we've got Fiesta brand, we've got Gebhardt, Cafe Ole, Boar's Night Out. All of these different products, to me, is a huge gold mine of opportunity because many of these products are not currently being sold by these sellers. And so we can use this to our advantage, all right? Now, if I actually go back into the advanced filters here and I scroll down, let's just say I took out the include historical. Let's see how many products come back that aren't historical, but that 4 different sellers are currently selling on. If I do that, we go from 111 now to 0, all right? So that means that there's no products across 4 of those different sellers that match the exact same. But if we click on include historical offers, we get our 111, and then we can use some of those other filters. So that's one way to use this feature. Now, that's just specifically for regional products like this, but there's also the idea for private label products. Now, HEB could have been a great one. We could have dug a little bit deeper on there, but let's look at Kroger. Now, I know Kroger is in a lot of different areas, and I'm just going to click into one of this. I don't care about the listing specifically that I'm looking at. I care about the brand and seeing what sellers are on there so that then I can cross match and find the best ASINs from all the different sellers that have been on here. So it's the same process, right? You go to data, you click into offers, you can then look at the historical offers, get that information. Let me go ahead and get this to load here. Get that information. Right now there are, with FBA, 5 sellers. Click on include historical, and now we have 29 sellers. We can do the same exact process on, which is a very easy and quick process to do, right? And so that's one of the great things about this, is that this is so simple, and Keepa just made our lives so much easier. So I'm going to go ahead and copy that. I'm going to come back over to here. I'm going to actually clear this information out, paste it, and copy this. And then we're going to go back to Keepa, and I can just do the same thing. Now, if I take a look at this and I go to is one of, so any seller, how many products are there historically? There's 63,000 products historically. And if I take out the include historical, we would have been left with 3,000 products. So this is a huge update, because prior to Keepa's updates, it would have just shown us 3,000 products. But with this, we're now seeing 60,000 products. And I can go and see, okay, how many 4 of them have that match? 152. Let's see what some of those brands look like. So these are sellers that have access to a Kroger and purchasing from Kroger. So you can see that there's Starbucks, McCafe, Newman's Own, Green Mountain Coffee Roasters. So these seem to be a lot of coffee type sellers. We've got Lipton, Dunkin' Donuts, Lindt, Reese. So you can use this and see if there's any good products as you are going about your sourcing routine. This is just amazing. I love this because you're going to learn about new things. Now, Private Selection is actually a Kroger product as well. That is very telling. If you have Kroger in your area, check out Private Selection and see, because these Keepa charts are very, very good usually. And so that's what I love about this, is that now we can see ideal sellers products, what they've either sold now or they've sold in the past. All right. So that's the regional product approach and the private label brand product approach. The next thing that you can do is you could actually take a look at this Kroger listing right here, and we could look at just the FBM sellers, and we could take a look at including these historical offers. Now, you can use this especially in Q4 and other times of the year if you want to do more FBM where you are fulfilling the products yourself. You can do the same thing with these sellers. You could typically just go back to this product finder here, and you could scroll down to the seller ID section, and you could just paste in the FBM products and see if there's any matching, or you can take a look at just the products that are FBM from those sellers. So let me pull this out here, and I'm going to get rid of this matching. So we're going to do is one of, and then I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to export just the FBM sellers here. And this is going to be powerful if you want to do more in Q4 or something where you want to do more FBM. And so after I get this open, we'll take a look. We'll do the same exact process. This is the new Excel sheet, and we're going to copy these. So we're just specifically doing with FBM. You don't have to do it just with the FBM sellers, but I figured it would be a little bit more fruitful this way. So let me go ahead and pull this over and select that and copy it. And we're going to come back to the product finder. So let's see how many total products historically those sellers have. 58,000 products just from those FBM sellers we pulled from this one listing. Okay, it was FBM only, if you remember right. Now, I can also see if I take these out, let's see how many products. This is current. It's not going to include the historical offers on this line. This is going to be current, but let's see how many FBM offers they currently have just in total. 4,850 FBM products. And so we could actually come down here and do a little bit more filtering to find what are the best products that may be available. So let's go ahead and see any that have over 3 sellers. And we're going to also take a look at items that have FBM as the buy box winner. Okay. And the reason is because if we're trying to sell FBM, we want to see if there's any FBM sellers that are currently winning the buy box. I always misplace this one. And so give me just a second to make sure that I pull up the right spot. It should be, here we go. So buy box seller, we can do third party, or we can do additional buy box switches here. Is FBA, I'm going to do no. Okay. So we just want to see FBM buy box only. So that brought us down to 2,271 products. And then let's say with shipping and other things like that, we're going to have a buy box of, let's just go with over $25 and see if we can pull back any products. So 670 that met that criteria. And I'm going to do a higher sales rank across the board so we can try to pull back some really good products. All right, so now we only have 5 products. So this really limited us. Maybe we want to expand those filters a little bit more, but let's see what those 5 products are that have an FBM seller that came from that listing that we looked at. Looks like a lot of different things pulled up here. All right, I don't know why the 398. Let me just double check because it said it was 5. Now it's 397, so that's good. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and go from there. All right, so I don't feel as bad about that. I was shocked that it went down to 5, so I'm glad that it went down to 391 products now. And then we can take a look and see if any of these would be items that we'd like to sell. Now, let's just say in Q4 you're looking to sell, instead of some of these grocery products, you could look at toys and games. You could also have filtered out in the categories the toys and games category to find the things that you'd like to sell. But let's take a look at this one. Now here we've got an FBM seller in the buy box. This is a pack of 24. Probably don't want anything like that. I would prefer it to be just a single pack here. Obviously we have a lot of grocery going on in this particular search here. Let's take a look. That's a spray bottle, so it may be more hazmat. This is Kirkland signature, so let's see if this would be one. This is a Jelly Belly product. You can see the FBM sellers have started to come up here, or sorry, the pricing has started to come up as the sellers started to dip. Let's see if we can find this particular product. Now it's currently $15.99 here, but we're looking for Kirkland signature. And so this product, if we were to purchase it from Costco, is $19.99. Okay. And so from a $19.99 perspective, it's currently selling at $27.29. Probably not worth it. Now Costco has some other bigger discounts, but this is still something that we could take a look at, especially if we wanted to do any more FBM. Now I don't believe that would end up being profitable, but you could go through each one of these and check them out, or you could go back and do some more digging to see what would be the best products to pull back. Now, another item that you could do, let me scroll down. Let's see if there are any toys and games, because we could actually see if there's any good things in Q4 by doing it this way. So there's 4 products that meet our other criteria in the toys and games category. And so this is Lego. If you're ungated in Lego, then congratulations. But ultimately, this currently has a buy box of $67.99. FBA is at $76.99. You can see a bunch of sellers sold out back here. So this could be a great opportunity coming up into Q4 if you were doing FBM at all. So you can use these to start trying to dig into to other sellers' storefronts to see what the prime FBM opportunities are if you want to sell those. Now, the very last thing that I recommend that you could do, I'm just going to take one seller's storefront that's currently on here, okay? And the reason is because I'm going to use this for a very specific purpose. I have no idea who this is, and so I apologize if I am taking somebody's storefront, but we're going to just copy one of these. Now, the way that you can use this is to actually, let me clear through this, you can use this to go through your entire storefront and what you have sold, and then run those through a sourcing software such as Tactical Arbitrage or Nepedo or Arbisaurus or Arbitrage Hero, any of those sourcing tools to actually go back through all the products that you've sold in the past. And I love this. Now, this was actually suggested inside a free community I'm a part of by another member. I've seen it suggested by a couple people. One was Quincy Lynn from Quick Finds, and another was Grant Douglas, who I work with inside of the My Silent Team community. But ultimately, this is it comes from this free community that I want to make sure you get access to. It's at bit.ly/MST group. Now, that link will be below and in the description. So if you're interested in just joining a free Facebook group, head over there because I loved this suggestion. And you can actually just take your storefront ID, go down to the seller ID section, and we're going to pretend this is your storefront. All right. You can paste this in here. This current storefront has 89 products, and then you can click on include historical. Well, now there's 2,559 products. So let's say you only have 89 products right now, but you've sold over 2,000 products in the history of your store. You should go back through and look at them all. Well, if you haven't been storing that anyway, or if you've been deleting them from your storefront, this is a great way to go collect all of those ASINs, and then you can export that and upload it to a sourcing tool, or you could just specifically go through and check out all of the products that you know that you've purchased in the past, because you probably have forgotten about some things. That's why this is so powerful, because a lot of sellers forget about the products that they're selling. And so now we can see those things that people forgot about. But ultimately, those are three different ways that I recommend using it. First would be with the regional products or the store private label brands, just to look at other sellers in your area so you can capitalize on those regional or store private label brand products. The second is to be able to use it for FBM opportunities. If you're a seller that wants to do more FBM, use this to look at just the seller IDs with the products that have FBM, sellers on them. And then finally is going to be looking at your own storefront to doing some of your own digging into your old products and see what's good. You can come back to your storefront here and you could look for items that have had a sales rank drop of a certain percentage. Okay. So that would just mean that it's getting better in sales rank. Or you could look for things that are increasing in price using these drop percentages as well, or using just this, right? I could say, hey, I want to see anything that currently has over $30 and it was over 28. Let me go ahead and do a 28 to 35. I'm going to do 30 to 50. And then we're going to take a look at just those 56 products. So they have increased over the last 30 days, just at least a few dollars. And so let's take a look at those. So it dropped it down from 2,000 items to 56 products that now have an increase in price. So let me take a look at this. You can see that it's a small increase, but you can play around with this to see what items are increasing in price or getting faster on your sales rank. There's so much that you can do with this. And so hopefully this helped to expose you to some of that. If you have any questions, please post them down below. I'm happy to answer as many as I possibly can. Also, if you're interested in my over 70 sourcing systems that I provide, I've got a full 25 plus module course with over 70 different sourcing systems that I provide to you. It's called the Evergreen Sourcing System. You can simply head over to askjimmysmith.com/evergreen to check that out. But hopefully this helped you and blessed you. And I hope you have a great rest of your day and a blessed rest of your week.